What's up, everybody? This is Connor and Joshua with Chamber One Tactical. Today we had the review of the 3 budget pistols that we got from our Uncle Jimbo. We did a little bit of testing, both with us shooting and some friends and family that we had over. So we had a good time, testing out these guns, and we actually had some pretty good results with all 3 of the firearms. So the first one being the Tisas PX9 Tactical. This is a Gen 3 version of it, so I think this is the newest version that they have right now. Very impressed with this gun, both in looks and functionality. Everything from the cocking serrations to the grip, the trigger. The trigger, I think, is probably the best thing about the gun. It's a very, very good, crisp, light trigger on this gun. It's got good sights on it, metal sights that they are adjustable in the rear. It's blacked out in the rear with a fiber optic in the front. And I really like the way they did these rear sights, where they kind of cut off the ears on the back, so it just kind of funnels your eyes to that front sight, which I've always found to be very helpful. CZ does the same thing on their competition line guns. So really like to see stuff like that going on these budget guns. This gun did come optic cut, so that's really cool. Also, for $350, you can get a gun that is optic cut, which we've seen that from Palmetto State. Getting a gun for $350 that has an optic cut already on it. So the only con that I have for the gun is really the texturing on the frame. It's not really aggressive much at all. It's a little slick in my opinion. But that and the reset on the trigger, the reset really doesn't push your finger out much at all, and it's a little bit longer than I would expect it to be. But other than those 2 things, the gun functioned perfectly. We didn't have any issues, and it shot great. I thought the recoil, impulse on it was really good. It was easy to mitigate that recoil.
And it can get better.
Yeah.
So this gun came with the threaded barrel, and so what we mean by that is, as you guys might not be able to see it, but we did throw on one of these micro compensators on there. And we hadn't shot it yet with the micro comp. None of the footage is going to have that being shot. But it gives you the ability to put on accessories and compensators or suppressors, whatever you want to put on there. And coming in at the price point that it did, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Just like Connor said, the serrations are really nice, front and rear. The actual slide itself is pretty easy to pull back. So for female shooters and stuff like that, it's very easy. Or if you don't have a very strong grip, it's very easy to go ahead and cock it. Like he said, I agree as far as the grip being very slick. I would like to put some tape on there, some sort of, nothing super aggressive, but just a little something to help it keep in your hand a little bit better.
With it being that duty size, you want to get as good as a hold on as you can. So with this gun, that may mean getting you some Talon grips, or we actually have a buddy that has a company called Traction Grips that we've been testing here recently, and we really like them. So something like that, where you're only spending $10 to $14 on a set of grips, is not a big deal. It's just something to mention.
But the trigger surprised me. The brake is very, very good. And like you said, the reset, there's a little bit to be desired, but overall it's not too bad.
Right.
Still, I wouldn't say it's a bad trigger. I would say it's a good trigger. The brake is really good, and the reset could just be a little bit better.
I was actually impressed. I put a Timney trigger in my Palmetto State Dagger Compact, and the brake on this one is very, very similar. It may be a little bit heavier, and there may be a little bit of mush in there compared to that Timney trigger. There's no movement at all. I mean, it's very impressive. But for you to be able to get a $350 gun with that good of a trigger in it is really impressive. And this gun also comes with different back straps, side panels,
little holster,
competition holster. You've got a standard, I believe it's 18 round magazine, and then you have a 20 or 21 round magazine. I can't remember which one it is, but comes with a lot of stuff. It also comes with a little extended mag well, so you can just slide that on, and there's a little screw that goes in the bottom. So it's kind of cool that anything that you would upgrade on a gun is already here for you, which is really cool. And then moving on to our next gun, this was the middle price point gun as far as the 3 that we got. This is the Ermo Defense Xfire, which is an aluminum framed Glock 19 style handgun. And we say style because, in my opinion, the only similarity between the 2 is that you get the ability to run Glock magazines. But I wouldn't really say this gun, to me, feels anything like a Glock.
It does share some of the same components of a Glock 19,
yeah.
a Gen 3 Glock 19, but yeah, like you said, it shoots like a different gun,
right?
In my opinion,
and I think it to me it has a similarity to a CZ. The way that they do that swell on the back on the beaver tail, it reminds me of a CZ. And we actually shot this gun very, very well. The only thing that I didn't really like, we're kind of getting a similar issue with the three guns that we had, and that's the grip texture.
Yep.
There's a little bit lacking on all three of these guns. This one, the side grips on here, they are screwed on because it is an aluminum frame. They're very cheap feeling. There's not much to grab onto. There's not a lot of aggressive
they also give
texture.
you red ones,
yeah,
but they're just as slippery.
yeah. So, and then the front and back straps, they gave you some milling there, but it's not really a lot that keeps your hand from moving around. But really liked this gun. The trigger is a little heavy on this gun. It's probably getting close to your 5 to 5.5 pound trigger. But however, the brake is very clean, and the reset is exactly what you'd want out of a handgun. It's pushing your finger out there. You really don't have to think about it. And if you guys see in the footage, that's part of why this gun was the easiest gun to shoot quickly, follow-up shot-wise. I think it did a really, really good job. This gun is also coming in optic cut, so that's cool. This gun's coming in around $300. But optic cut, it does have metal sights that are fiber optic as well. I did prefer the sights on the Tisas a little bit more over the Irma Defense, just because it's fiber optic all around, and that's sometimes to me a little confusing when I'm trying to stay focused on my front dot. So that's just really the only con I would have is the trigger weight, the texturing, and the sights kind of.
Yep. If they made a kit that would actually lighten that trigger up, I mean, the brake and the reset is phenomenal. It really is. But the front serrations, it's more of slide cuts than serrations, I guess you could say. Like but very, very easy to come over the top, do a press check, or go ahead and slide it all the way. Like you said, the sight's very, very nice. You could throw a red dot on there right out of the box if you wanted to. Again, it's got an accessory rail. You can put a light on there. So this one would actually make a good concealed carry because it's that Glock 19 size and takes Glock 19 mags.
And it's not much heavier than a Glock. I mean, it's got a little bit heavier. It's a little beefier, meaning the thickness of the actual frame when you grab onto it. It's got a little. It's a chubby. It wouldn't
fit in our Glock 19 holster because it's a little bit thicker. But this gun has really tight tolerances, which I didn't expect for such a budget pistol. But very, 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 very tight. Very, very tight tolerances. And again, that trigger, amazing. The grip could be improved on, but overall, I think it's a good purchase.
And going back to what he's saying about tight tolerances, this out of the three, I just wanted to mention real quick, this gun out of the three was the only gun that we had malfunctions on. So this gun had, was it 2 or 3 different failure to feed? It was almost in there. If you gave it a little bump, it would go into chamber. But it did happen, I think, 2 or 3 times, and I don't think we ever had that issue again.
And it really only happened with steel case ammo as well,
That's true. That's true. And you guys can see, we had fun with it. We tried to buy the cheapest ammo we could get, which was steel cased ammo, and we tried to buy the cheapest targets we could get, which was 2 liters. And they weren't even name brand 2 liters. They were like Aldi kind of 2 liters. So, but that is just worth saying. If you buy that gun and you have an issue like that within the first 200 rounds, I would give it a little bit more time shooting to see if it'll work itself out. But the last gun we have is the BRG9 Elite. This gun actually came in at around $250. However, our Uncle Jim did get it on sale, and it was right at like $199, which is really, really hard to beat. Obviously, this being a cheaper gun, it didn't come with the accessories and the upgrades that these 2 other guns came with. It doesn't have an optic cut, but that's pretty much the only thing it doesn't have. It does have metal sights on it. The sights, in my opinion,
they were the worst.
They were the worst out of the 3.
Not bad, but worse.
It's a painted orange dot up front and 2 white dots in the back, and the way that they kind of recess the actual dots and have wings on the side. So it's a pain trying to keep up with your rear sights. And I know, we're focusing on that front sight, but you're losing it a lot in this setup. It just didn't work out how I would want a sight setup to go. But, it is what it is. Again, same kind of issue. Not a lot of texture on the frame. And this is the only one that I really have somewhat of an issue with the trigger. It's just the trigger is so far back when it comes to pulling the actual trigger. So you have a ton of take up. And then once you actually get to a wall, and the wall's not bad, but once you get to that wall, it actually breaks all the way back to the polymer. And then the reset is pretty long. You're letting your finger all the way back out. And it's just breaking so far back. So a lot of times when you have a trigger like this, you'll see people shooting low left. And that's just something that'll happen when you have a trigger like that. But this gun did come with ambi mag release. It's that weird pivot thing. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, as you push it in, you can feel it rotating. It just
not a super huge fan of that. I'm also not a fan of the back safeties, which I know this is based off of that Springfield XD9, platform. So it doesn't bother me that much, but I don't like it. It's not something I would prefer be on a gun.
It's like trying to check off all the boxes.
Yeah.
Polymer frame, okay, it's like a Glock. It's got a back safety. It's like a 1911.
It's just all it's of them
a
thrown together.
a little bit of a mixture of everything.
And I will say this gun did come with two 16-round magazines, and it did come with two different back straps, and some cleaning accessories. But in my opinion, it's a pretty good value for $250. It's pretty good value for what you're getting, and if that's what you can afford, it's a good option.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if this is all that you can afford, this is a much better pistol than like a High Point or something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend this, and no malfunction. So this is still a great pistol. It's just out of the three, this was our least favorite. You get a little bit less features with this one.
Right.
But again, the slide serrations were great on it. The trigger's okay. Obviously, these were better, but it's okay. It's still doable. And then that back safety, I agree, trash. Don't need it. So just little things like that just put it further down on the list than these two.
So the main question is, in our opinion, which gun would we get out of the three? And in my opinion, I don't have a need for the Tisas. I really liked the Tisas. It's not that I didn't like it. I actually thought that this gun probably came with the most. You're getting the best bang for your buck with this gun. However, if I'm looking at a duty styled gun, I'm going to pick a different one than that. I've got Canic I could choose from. I've got Springfield Echelon. I've got other guns that I would go to. Now, we already have those guns, but some of those guns are expensive. And if that's what you want for a duty gun, I would 100% recommend that. But for me, I would look more for a carry gun, which is why I would go with the Irmo Defense. I like that it comes with the optic cut. I like that it already comes with two plates. I like that it's on the Glock 19 style platform, but gives you, in my opinion, a little bit better, performance than a Glock 19. Not saying it's better than a Glock. I'm just saying I like the performance that it gave. So in my opinion, I would probably go with the Irmo Defense Xfire, but that's just because that's what I'm looking for. More of a carry gun, not a duty gun.
Wow, I was actually surprised. I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah,
you gonna ask me?
What would you pick?
Tisas all day long. It's unpredictable.
A little bit.
Oh man. Okay. Well, for me personally, that would not be my go-to carry gun, and the fact that it did have malfunctions, I know you said that you give it a break-in period. I don't like to have that in the back of my mind that a pistol that I'm carrying had some malfunctions.
Yeah.
So for me, I would rule that out as far as a carry gun.
So let me ask you this: while saying that, would you still recommend this gun
for carry?
Yeah, I mean any of these could be carried. So would you still recommend this gun to somebody at the price point it is, knowing that we did have now? To be fair, I'm not trying to back up my statement or anything, but the issues we had were only with steel cased. So
that's true.
We never had that issue with aluminum or brass during that testing. But that's the main question: would you still recommend it, knowing it had 3 malfunctions?
Yes, but if you do buy it, test it.
Yeah, we recommend any gun though.
And put some rounds through it. So any gun that you buy, I would say put at least 1,000 rounds.
Yeah,
because
if you're gonna carry
that's me personally. I know not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody has the opportunity, both in time or money, to buy 1,000 rounds.
Yep.
But I would say put 1,000 rounds.
Well, and that's the point of this review.
Exactly.
If you can't afford the expensive gun, then buy a cheaper gun and buy ammo.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I would 100% agree with that.
Yep.
I would rather somebody spend a little bit less money on a gun and buy more ammo.
Absolutely.
But I would choose the Tisas. 0 malfunctions. This would be a great duty pistol.
Mhm.
The trigger was actually very well. I do like having a threaded barrel
Yep.
because the duty gun that I actually run has a threaded barrel with a compensator on it.
Right.
So
Because
when
he
I
can't
think
handle
of,
recoil.
well, okay, whatever. But when I think of like something on the side of my hip, right?
Yeah.
I don't need it to be super compact.
Sure.
I want it to have every feature that I can possibly put on there
I agree.
to make me a better shooter. So that's why I got super aggressive tape on there. I got me a compensator, red dot, whatever it might be. And this, you could do that to this gun as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I would choose the Tisas.
Well, guys, that's the review that we have on these 3 guns. If you have any questions about any of these guns, where you can find any of these guns, drop a comment down in our comment section. If you guys have any guns that you would like us to do reviews on, or any gear that you would like us to do any reviews on, let us know also in the comment section. And please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.